Welcome back to the Micro Advice Podcast. Today, our spotlight is on Sentisum, a UK-based startup that leverages AI and big data to help enterprises gain competitive advantage through natural language processing on support tickets. This is part one of a two-part series on Sentisum, so please be on the lookout for another one coming soon. To learn more about the customer experience they're offering in this very unique field, we're here with founder and CEO Sharad Khandelwal. Sharad, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks for having me on the podcast, James. Always happy to talk about technology and customer experience.
Likewise, me as well. That's why we made such a great fit the first time we spoke.
Absolutely.
So you aim to help directors of customer service, customer success, develop actionable insights for improving customer experience and reducing complaint volumes that basically apply to any department within their organization. So given that background, I'm curious, what led you to start or found Sentisum, and how did you arrive at this idea?
I guess, like with any tech startup, James, it's always about identifying a market gap or a problem and leveraging technology to solve that, right? For us, it was the frustration that brands are sitting on a gold mine of qualitative data, like your support tickets, your voice calls, your social surveys, and that can be leveraged to improve the experience of end consumers, but they are either not doing anything about that data, or they are unable to, given the manual nature and the scale, right? So it's like that was a gap, kind of a problem we identified. And then I personally come from a tech background. I studied machine learning at UCL, so I kind of realized that technology, specifically natural language processing, now makes it possible to analyze all this data at scale and in an accurate manner. So I think that's where I would say the idea was born. There's so much data. Why don't we use the NLP to kind of uncover insights? So that's how Sentisum was born. And Sentisum comes from two different words, sentiment and summarization. It's a summary of user sentiment.
That's really interesting. And I think you're onto something here because whenever I speak with different folks in the customer experience arena, this is the future, using AI and ML to really uncover some of those customer sentiments and provide actionable insights. So not only in the name do you have that, but also in what it is you're doing. This is great.
Thank you.
So Sharad, what are some of the ways where you deliver a superior customer experience to your own customers? How do you sort of nail it so that they can help their own customers?
I guess when it comes to customer experience, at the core, it's always about how do you reduce points of friction in your customer's journey, right? I think that's the most important thing. And to be honest, you don't need to undertake complex market research to identify those points of friction, because customers tell you what are the points of friction. So I think to keep it simple, I think it's always about three things. First is make it easy for your customers to contact you, right? Give them different platforms like live chat, web forms, email, calls, social, etc. And once you have done that, second most important thing is listen to them and listen to every conversation, because again, coming back to what we were talking about, it's gold mine of information for you. You will know everything about what your customers are liking, what are they not liking. So, and then that's where I think technology plays a part, kind of to automate all that analysis. And the third thing is, once you know the issues, the priorities, you act, and then kind of keep monitoring the impact of those changes as a result of this. So it's listening properly to your customers, understanding, and then acting on them. And I guess it's true for any business. That's what we do. I think, especially as a early stage startup, for us, whether it's any sales conversation or a customer success meeting or any other meeting, it's always about understanding the customer, listening to them, try to understand what pain they are having, and can we solve them.
That's great. I love that summary of the three key points. It goes to a Monitor Deloitte article I was reading just the other day that capture very similar points around just reduce the friction and make it easy for the customers to buy. It's funny how few companies or many companies really have that as a pain point where it's very difficult to buy the product or service. And then
Yeah,
once you have it, maintaining that product or
yeah,
service. So excellent point. Sharad, so there's a ton of information that asserts leveraging AI is the future for delivering a tailored customer experience. And there's a lot out there about personalization and tailored customer experience. So, what are your thoughts on this, and how do companies still incorporate a human element while drawing upon AI technology? Because I feel like that's big, still connecting with your customers in a human way while using the tools.
yeah, I agree. And I would say AI, like any other technology, is just meant to automate manual processes at scale, right? It's always about helping humans automate repetitive tasks so that they can focus on more complex and creative tasks, right? And I guess that's what the state of AI is today, and probably it will be for the next couple of years as well. It's always going to be in human element. There is a human element now, and I think in the next couple of years still there will be human element. So just to kind of give you example in terms of AI use cases, if we are talking about customer experience, right? One AI use case is basically, instead of your support agents, customer support agents, manually tagging every ticket and reporting on them, you can use technology, specifically in this case natural language processing, to automate that process so that they can completely focus on the customers instead of doing all these kind of tasks which takes their attention away. And again, like another example can be, you, instead of your customer support manager manually trying to prioritize and delegate support tickets as they come in to different agents, you can have an AI helping the customer support manager, right? So I would say it's there is an human element. It's just what we call kind of, it's around augmentation rather than automation. It's helping humans automate some of those repetitive tasks.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, because of this relatively newer technology, at least in the customer experience space, have you faced any challenges getting in front of your clients, or maybe showing the value prop to your customers that it can be very impactful to them and really deliver top line results?
Yeah, James, to be honest, I would say that has been our biggest struggle, right? Like with any early stage tech startup, convincing the value, convincing the impact of a new technology to customers, right? That's one big challenge. And then if you are, even if you are able to kind of convince the value and the impact, second challenge is there won't be set budgets for a new technology, right? You come from corporate background, you know it. Every year you would have set budgets for this software, that software, renewal of this, buying this. And then it's a challenge to create new budgets if it's kind of new technology, new platform. And third, the most complex one is probably, again, as a humans, we don't like changes, especially if it's with it's with our daily routine actually. So how do you convince them about new way of doing things? So there we are kind of learning from our challenges, we are trying to address it. And then I think the how it works is, once you get few customers, then those customers become your brand ambassador, you can take their case studies. So it becomes easier and easier, but obviously initially it's a challenge to convince people about new way of doing certain things.
So, just curious, do you see it trending then in the positive direction in terms of people not even using the software, but people seeing the benefit of customer experience and what it can do to their business, and then getting that aha?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not that companies or people didn't know the value of customer experience. I think for last even a decade or so, everyone has been talking about customer experience, customer centricity. I think people understand it. It's just that how do you implement those changes are complex. And I would say now technology, specifically if you want to talk about AI, kind of makes it easy.
That makes total sense. And I know before, even to really understand the voice of the customer, it was a very time-consuming task in
Yeah.
conducting interviews and really trying to assess what it is that the customer is aiming to get to with your product or service. With tools like this, it does truncate that portion of the VOC program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sharad, last question for today. What are some of the most important actions that you may have incorporated as a tech founder in managing expectations with customers when sometimes things don't go as planned?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would say first thing, what we try our best is kind of set realistic expectations, right? Not oversell. That's what we kind of try our best. And then to your point, when things don't go as planned, I think it's always about being transparent and communicate everything to your customers, because what we have realized is they are humans, like kind of like you. They understand that these things can go wrong, so it's always about just making them understand that this has gone wrong, and probably we are working on it to find the root cause. Once we found the root cause, again, let them know what was the root cause, tell them what we are doing to address it, and tell them what steps or actions you are taking to make sure this doesn't happen in the future. And then again, internally, we would kind of set up processes to make sure it doesn't happen. So I think as a tech founder, because when you're in technology, you're always working with cross teams, and it's a common challenge for any tech person, communicating with cross teams, letting them know of the right estimates, setting the right expectations, and when things go wrong, letting them know that there is a bug which is being kind of fixed. And this is so, I think that becomes part of your workflow actually, and that starts reflecting in how you are communicating to your customers as well. So I think that's how I would put it. That's how we deal with these kind of issues.
That's incredible. And everything you just mentioned, I've been in those exact shoes before. So it makes total sense when it comes to new technology. And sometimes things don't go right the first time, second or third. So maintaining those strong customer relationship and experience is key. Thank you for explaining that. And
Pleasure.
thank you all for listening. If you have any thoughts or questions about Customer Experience Podcast, please drop me a line on LinkedIn. As always, you can find this on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Please subscribe, get this content and much more great insights at these locations. Sharad, thanks again for taking the time to speak with us today. I really appreciate hearing your thoughts on Sentisum.
Thanks for having me, James.
Have a great day. Take care. See you back here, same place, same time next week. Bye now.